pretty popular event, but we couldn't feed them fast enough. Ticket times were pretty much like an hour to an hour and a half after you order. But the reason for this was because, so this was the process. This doesn't sound really stupid, but so basically you take the order, and then you sprint 100 yards to someone's apartment. You prepare the order, and then you relay it back to, like, you basically are holding like bowls of pho, walking 100 yards back to the Lamb Commons, and you pass out the pho. But pretty much, it was more like a relay race than a charity pho event. So that was what was going on. Eventually, though, we cleared through the entire crowd, except there was 2 people left, and there was only enough broth for 1 bowl of pho. Now, these people had been waiting for an hour and a half for the promise of pho, and I remember my officers and I were standing around staring at this almost empty pot, and we're like, what the hell do we tell these people? You know, they've been waiting for an hour and a half. So, I mean, good thing I think like quick on my feet. So I took a water bottle and I just like dumped it in the bowl. I mean, I mixed it with the broth, right? And I split it into 2 bowls. Anyways, I mean, that kind of stays in this room, okay? Those things that you like take to the grave, but I want to share it with you guys because, you know, we're all cool now. Anyways, so the point of the story is that we stuck together, and almost everybody that came had a delicious meal. So how do we use this now? Let me tell you about the opening of CT. So when we first opened the first Chasing Tails, we knew we needed a good manager to cover for the fact that no one on our team had any restaurant experience. I mean, me and Z played cards for like, I guess like 7 years before we opened the restaurant, and you know, O just graduated from college, and I guess we had waitering jobs at one point, but you know, that's not the same thing as running a restaurant. So basically what we did was to overcompensate. We hired a manager that had 30 years restaurant experience. He was a very skilled guy, great speaker. He always bragged that he worked for President Clinton. I'm not sure what he exactly did, but you know, apparently he seemed like an important dude. And I mean, he pretty much knew how to do everything though. And he worked at like 10 restaurants. He knew all the ins and outs. Anyways, everything was going great until we opened. The problem was this guy had no teamwork. He would yell at everybody, including the customers. He put himself before the team. He even would hire like his lady friends so he could like hook up with them at work. But the worst part is that these women, they were like butt ugly. So eventually we knew we had to do something, right? We were kind of scared. We knew we had to do something, but we were scared because, you know, 2 months into opening, you know, we don't know what we're doing, only this guy does. But we knew we had to do something, so we just we fired him, and we just went forth, and we only had 2 months of restaurant experience between all of us. It took us a long time to build up the courage to fire him, but we knew it was the right thing, so we did it. But soon after we did that, everything got a lot better. Yelp reviews got better. The people that worked for us told us it was a much better environment. The customers started enjoying like the atmosphere more, and we did much better. So then we realized it's important to hire people for attitude rather than experience. You want to hire people that can work together on a team rather than people that are highly skilled, but you know they can't get along with other people. So yeah. So anyways, let me show you guys a few memes real quick that I think we can all relate to. Okay, so I assume because we're all Asian kids here and we go to UVA, you guys probably have Asian parents too, and Asian parents, you know, you guys can probably relate to this. So this kind of leads to the lesson that we learned. We think it's a good idea to take smart shots. Now, for all you guys, to everybody well, let me explain to you why we decided to play poker. To everyone, it seemed like a huge risk. For those of you guys who are pursuing the stereotypical Asian degrees, you know, doctor, dentist, engineer, lawyer, pharmacist, imagine what would happen if it was your 4th year, you come home and you tell your parents, hey, I'm no longer going to be an engineer, or I'm no longer going to be a doctor. How would they react? Now, imagine right after you tell them that, you say, now, instead of doing that, I'm going to be a professional gambler. What would they tell you? So let me tell you what happened to me and Z when we did that. So first things first, my dad forbade us to play online or poker at all. And he told us he was paying our tuition in order for us to go study and not gamble our lives away. I mean, a lot of us are Vietnamese here, I assume, so you always have that one cousin or the one uncle or whoever that you know that gambled like their house away or something, and your parents always tell you about that, stay away from casinos and things like that, right? So, so obviously, he told us not to gamble our lives away, so we did the most obvious thing we could do. We just did it behind his back. At the time, we were maybe making $9 to $10 an hour, but we were, playing it as a hobby. As a college kid, that's not bad. You're doing a hobby, you're making $9 to $10 an hour. But because we would have to sneak out of the house to do it, we would have to go to an internet cafe and pay $3 an hour, to use your computer. So now we're only making like $7 an hour. That's about minimum wage. It's not too bad. So the summer, let me tell you the story about the summer leading into fourth year. We had a family reunion with a bunch of our relatives. And our relatives volunteered a support ranging from telling us, you guys are stupid and you guys are gonna fail, to you guys are embarrassing your parents. But the thing is, for me and Z, we put a lot of thought into it, and we were actually pretty careful. We felt like it was a smart shot. We felt it was a risk we had to take. Pretty much, let's say we were successful, then we would have the freedom from a 9-to-5 job, and we would be happy doing what we were doing. Also, from a numbers perspective, it made sense. We weren't gonna starve, and there was a high upside for playing poker. Worst case scenario, we end up using our degrees again, and we get engineering jobs, which was the original plan anyways. So, like worst case scenario, we just go back to the original plan. So let me explain poker for those of you that don't know. Poker is a game of skill, but it's disguised as a game of chance. So everybody thinks that they can win. Similar to a casino, the better player in poker always wins in the long run. You know how they tell you when you go to the casino, you might win like, a little bit of money here and there, but if you keep going back, eventually the casino's gonna get you. It's because they have a small edge, and the best players can create that small edge in the games that they play in. So the better player is basically highly skilled at calculating risks in all spots, while the recreational player is just kind of guessing. Now, Z and I knew this, and rather than compete against each other, we would study together until we became better than all of our opponents. We actually climbed the stakes together from when we were making like $7 an hour when my dad wouldn't let us play in the house, until we got to like the very top when Queenie's like 9 years old watching us, make like boatloads of money just like on the computer. Now, eventually when O became old enough, he joined our team and studied with us as well. So the end result is, for those of you that are curious, my parents eventually became cool with us playing poker. This was specifically after we bought my dad a Beamer on his 50th birthday. And the supportive uncles were the ones who were embarrassed after we offered to buy my grandparents a new house with poker money. Fast forward a little bit, April 2011. That day is called Black Friday for poker players. The DOJ suddenly decided to shut down all of the online poker sites that were operating in the US. And that was pretty much the end of our poker adventure, and we had no idea what to do next. But there is a next chapter, and Oak's gonna tell you guys all about it.
Hey guys, how you doing today? So, with poker gone and our newfound knowledge of taking calculated risks, we did the most reasonable thing we could think of. We entered an industry where 90% of the time you're supposed to fail. So, I know it sounds really bad when we're sitting here telling you guys to take calculated risks, but I'm gonna lay out the motivations and the reasonings behind our decision and why we thought we had a better shot than the other people that opened up restaurants. So the first thing that we thought of was we were entering a market that, we were opening in a new market that with a product that didn't exist currently. And so our dad's side of the family was from California, and there was another restaurant over there that was really successful selling seafood out of buckets. So when we went to go check it out, we saw lines out the door from the time that they opened to the time that they closed. And that's when we first thought, hey, this might be a good idea to bring over to the East Coast. The second reason was we had the connections. Through poker, Z had a friend that owned a seafood restaurant very similar to what we wanted to replicate. And that friend let us work inside his restaurant for a week to learn the ins and outs before we opened, so we have a good foundation to be ready when we open. The third reason was we had the history. So both of our parents went to Louisiana State University in Baton Rouge, so we grew up eating the food that Chase and Tails serves. And our whole mom's side of the family, they're still in Louisiana today, we go and we visit as often as we can. So we love the idea of being able to share an experience that we enjoyed so much growing up with an area that we felt really needed it. So adding all of those up, we thought we had the perfect recipe for success. And this quote is from Socrates. It's the only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. So the mindset that this quote preaches is the whole reason why we can stand here today and have 3 operating restaurants with plans to do more. A person who thinks this way is going to continue to search for more knowledge, and they're not going to be content with only the things that they currently know, because they know that they don't know everything. But if you had the opposite viewpoint, that you knew everything already, then you wouldn't have any motivation to improve or to get better. So how many of you guys have been to Chasing Tails? Yeah, that place sucks, right? Yeah. Maybe you guys don't agree with that now, hopefully not. But if you would have saw us the first few months that we were open, I guarantee you would have thought that we sucked. And I remember a night where I had to give out so much food, I felt like a food bank. Just because we were making so many mistakes left and right. And the cool thing about that, though, is those nights, those are the nights that you grow so much because you realize what you're doing wrong and what you can fix. So the first night that we opened, for the lack of a better word, was a shit show. Picture me, Z, and Hawk stressed out of our minds with no sleep at all. Actually, that kind of sounds like the day before that show. I feel for you guys, and good luck. So getting back to it, the average order completion time was an hour. And just to give you guys like a bar to, or a standard, Cheesecake Factory, their average is 17 minutes. So we're taking more than 3 times as long to bring out food to customers. And of course the customers are complaining, things are going wrong everywhere. And we knew we had to make things more efficient, and we knew we had to make things more faster. And then in the kitchen we learned, holy crap, if 2 people are ordering the same thing, you can make 2 things at the same time, and you save a lot of time that way. Or, oh man, it seems to get really busy during the same time every night. So we can make a lot of these same dishes and know that we can sell out of them and not have to worry about wasting or anything, and that will increase our speed. So eventually we were able to get down to about 15 minutes, but it didn't happen overnight at all. Another point that I want to touch on is that if you have this growth mindset that we're talking about, it really shifts the risk equation to a less risky one. Because at the end of the day, if you fail or you don't do as well as you had hoped, then at least you learn a lot from that experience. Okay. All right, you guys can read this review. Yeah, it's one of our favorite reviews though, because it's pretty true actually. But it sucks when you get a terrible review, and it hurts your pride, and it makes you question whether or not you know what you're doing at all. But in each bad review, there's a gift that 10 great reviews can't give you. And we actually view the customers who let us know how bad of a job that we're doing as our best customers, because they're the ones giving us the opportunities to fix a problem that I'm sure many customers have experienced or would have in the future. So that being said, you can either say to yourself, whenever you receive a bad, or any criticism for that matter, like, we didn't do anything wrong at all, what a hater. Or you can say to yourself, how do we fix this so it doesn't happen again? How do we learn from it? Looking back on how we were able to get to the level that we are now, we realize the importance of always choosing that second option. If you have the growth mindset, your improvement will be drastic in anything that you do. And C, I'm going to pass it over to recap.
So watching and listening, I guess, Hack and O makes me realize how much has happened since we were kids. When we're mowing lawns, we're just trying to make that $10 so that we can get some money for some tokens at timeout. Do you guys know what timeout is? Anyone? All right, never mind. That's like before your time. Anyway, it was an arcade in Springfield Mall where all the cool kids went to hang out. But going on, when we're selling Pokemon